everyone, welcome to Femme Fables. Megan here, and we're back. We took a little brief hiatus, but we're back with Rocky. Probably going to be my continued co-host as long as I can get his ass over here to record.
Yeah, busy man, but
yes,
we're here. We're here. I'm gonna start to do better.
He's going to do better. Isn't that what all men say?
Oh. We always are saying we're gonna do better. I just ask for y'all to give me a chance, you know.
Yeah, I always take men back, so here you are now.
Yeah, that's why I'm here, guys. I almost wasn't the co-host anymore.
Oh. So we're back. We're going to talk about something that I've always found interesting, and the topic is He's Just Not That Into You. There's actually a movie about this, I think.
There's a movie with Eric from Entourage.
Yes, yeah.
I know.
It was a book originally, and I forget the guy who wrote the book. He's like a dating guy.
Not the Nicholas Sparks guy or nothing like that.
No. Nicholas Sparks writes the romance. Like,
that tells you how much I know.
Different genre, but so I'm a self-proclaimed nice girl. So we actually had an episode about nice guys finishing last. I'll post it up. It'll probably be here, maybe. I don't know which we were showing the video, but first I want to thank everybody who subscribed. We're at like 234 subscribers, which I know isn't a ton, but the fact that people subscribed and it's just me and my friends sitting here talking about random shit most of the time, like I think that's pretty impressive. Not that I'm interesting at all, but I think some of the topics we talk about are interesting. So I appreciate everybody's support of the podcast and on YouTube. Keep it going.
She's interesting, y'all. Look at the red hair. How can you not be interested?
Right. Exactly. See? So, all right. So I'm a self-proclaimed nice girl, which Rocky and I were just talking about this off camera. I feel like when I like somebody, I'm kind of all in. And I respond timely to texts. I give a lot right up front. And there's a book called Men Love Bitches.
And guys, unfortunately, we love bitches, even if they're nice at first, or I call it like a wolf and
it's a bait and switch. It's the bait and switch.
Like they switch it up, right? Like they come off all nice and sweet, and then the minute you get locked in, she becomes a bitch. So I guess you can kind of look at it both ways. It's kind of like the nice guy was once the nice guy, and then he became an asshole, right? So maybe she was sweet, or maybe she was just a bitch from birth. Who knows?
Bitch from birth.
We do I don't know why we do that, but we do like the worst.
I mean, I can be a bitch, but it's mostly people I don't know. Like, if a stranger in the street is being disrespectful, I'll call somebody out on their shit. Like, I'm that type of person.
Yeah.
But I tend to get walked all over by people I care about.
Join the club.
So, I'm going to move your mic just because it's turning for some reason. So, yeah. You probably feel the same way.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a giver and you're just somebody who goes out of your way for people.
Yeah, I'm a giving person. I try to help everyone. I always say to myself, if I had just an unlimited amount of money, I'd help everyone.
Right,
literally.
yeah, exactly.
So, probably have helped more people than I should have, but I mean, the other side of that is you could just be an asshole and you could be a complete bitch, and we don't really want to be that.
Right. No, I'd rather be a nice person and suffer the consequences than be a shitty person,
right?
And suffer those consequences.
Yeah, right. Because you pay for that in the end.
You
Karma's
do pay
a bitch,
for it. It really is. So this book, Men Love Bitches, is not about it. I mean, it has a funny title, but it's about just not being overly accommodating to somebody you're just starting to date. So one of the things in the book, which I was telling Rocky, is that if a guy you're just dating comes over to your house, you're gonna watch a movie or whatever. It says, don't make him dinner, make him popcorn. Because he hasn't deserved yet wife behavior of making dinner.
What the hell we gonna do with some popcorn? Especially if it's not that black bag. What is it, Smartford or something like that?
Smart Pop?
Some Boom Chicka Pop, So she, in other words, what she's saying is we're gonna get the Act 2, or at least is it gonna be Orville Redenbacher, right? Movie theater butter?
Movie theater butter.
Okay.
Big size.
Okay. I'm cool with that. I can work with that.
So,
oh, God.
I have dated men that I've made gourmet meals for. They've stayed at my house. I've done their laundry for them.
Fellas, again, Megan is single. Tap in. Do you hear this shit? Okay, I've literally had chicks who didn't even know how to do laundry.
What?
Had my scallop shirts way up here.
Yeah, crop top.
But, yeah, you know how the fellas, you got to get the long fit like H&M, stuff like that. You know, PacSun called it the scallop, So you got the longer shirt. I mean, shirts up here, arms way
I've
up
been
here.
doing laundry since
like,
I was 10 years old. Like, my mom
so-
had me doing laundry in the summer.
And girls,
Like,
a lot of chicks definitely don't cook. I mean, I've met a lot of women who can bake, which I never.
baking is harder.
That's what I'm saying. I never
shit.
understood that. Like,
Yeah.
to me, baking is like you're the big deal if you can bake, right?
That's like science. Baking
So-
is difficult.
So I've met a ton of women who can bake, but they cannot cook a regular meal to save their lives. So
I love
it's like, I think a lot of men, I think that's a really great quality in a woman. Because it kind of shows that you came from that. Most women who can cook came from like the family aspect of maybe they learned from mom or grandma or, so most men would agree that that's a good thing.
But I think it should, Deidre and I talked about this a while ago, is that men should also know how to cook. You should go into a relationship being a fully capable human adult and not rely I think
Fellas.
it's like, hey, I love cooking for somebody, but I'd also love to have like a little date where we cook together.
I can cook. I can get on the pots and pans. I'm a grilling.
Yeah, I don't know how to grill.
I grill. So like me personally, like I could woe you with the grill skills. Like just because
I've
I can.
seen some of your stories. I was like, what's that? I want some of that.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's very important, and I think on both ends it's good to like kind of I guess level each other out.
Yeah.
That's the terminology I'm looking for. But like, for instance, my aunt and uncle, growing up, I know that my aunt, she worked at Ford Motor Credit. My uncle was a school teacher, so we obviously know who made more money. Right?
Yeah, right.
So, but my uncle was like, he knew how to cook. He did all the laundry. He did the grocery shopping.
Yeah.
So
So he kind of took more of the homemaker role.
Yeah. So I think these days that guys don't even let it get to that because most guys are so intimidated by women being independent and having their own shit and, not really needing us, just like we've talked about in the past, wanting us. So I say that to say this, like, I feel like a lot of guys are kind of like, okay, well, I don't need to go into the relationship and know how to cook. And my mom used to cook for my dad every day, and every day we had a home cooked meal. That whole bullshit narrative, right?
Yeah.
So, and you've probably experienced that as a woman, right?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I have.
Yeah, so I think that it would take some time,
Just shifting it.
I think it would just take some time and like working through some things, and I guess with time, if somebody can't cook, maybe you could do a cooking class together or something. But
I'd love to go to a cooking class. Like I can cook, but I've always I've actually looked at going to culinary school just for fun.
For the hell of it.
Yeah, just to learn more about actually cooking and things like that and flavors and stuff like that. So it's farther on the list, but you brought it up, so we're going to talk about it now, about successful and independent women intimidating men. So I was talking yesterday to a group of my girlfriends and saying, I said this out loud and I wanted to smack myself for saying it, but I said, sometimes I wish I weren't as successful as I was.
listen.
And I was like, what? Why did I just fucking say that? Like,
it is weird.
I think it's a hindrance.
Yeah, no. And
I pull up in my car on a date or they walk me to my car, and it's not like I have a nice car, but it's not like a fucking Lamborghini. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But I get you drive this?
Yeah.
And it's like...
I remember I dated someone and she had a Wrangler, like Rubicon, and then she had a Mercedes. Like she does well for
That's
herself.
that 2-car shit. Those are both like 3
Yeah,
stars.
we're still cool, obviously. Yeah. But everyone would be like, "Why aren't you with her?" And this, and I was like, we're friends. It is what it is. Like, so a lot of people would think that, hey, like you're not intimidated by that. In the same sense, right? Like on one hand, I had all my guy friends who don't really make that much money. Like, oh yeah, you need to lock in with that.
Yeah,
so
right.
like, that's not the reason I want to lock in with a girl.
Right.
But on the other side, I think guys who are successful, that could be intimidating too, because they're like, oh, well, I can't buy her. Because I'm telling you,
like
I tell you this over.
The girl who was rolling out in the Honda Civic at EVs the other day, and the guy was in the Ferrari, and I was like, the fuck just happened?
She's gonna have a Mercedes.
Look, I'm not putting anybody down. I'm just saying, to his point, sometimes men at that level
My first car
don't
was
want
a
to
Honda
equal.
Civic, by the way, Megan. Rude.
My first car was a Dodge Neo. And actually, I drove my parents' fucking minivan in high school. The shag wagon, because people were having sex in it on the weekends. Anyways.
Terrible plant kids. We're the worst.
The worst. So anyways, but I know you. I know you're entrepreneur, you're successful, and you want a woman at your level. You want somebody who... I'm not trying to knock anybody. I'm just coming from my own perspective of... I don't need somebody. I was having another conversation with a group, and I was like, I don't care how much money a man makes. I really don't. I don't need their money. I have my own money. Do I want somebody at my level because I like to go out to nice dinners and drop $300 at a steakhouse a couple nights a week or something? Absolutely. And I dated men who have been like, oh, I can't afford to take you to dinner. And I'm like, well, fuck, I want to go to dinner, so I'm picking up this bill.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind. But I want to give and take. I pick up the bill, then you pick up the bill.
Like we said in one of the episodes, I told you that, as time goes on, it was about when we discussed the whole should a guy pay on the first date? So that's what I told you.
Got my ass ringed on those comments.
You definitely have to do that, and I get it. After you start dating and you get to know the person, it becomes a balance. That's great, right? So again. I mean, you obviously aren't asking for too much by wanting someone on your level, because I just feel like unless someone's on your level professionally, like me, I'm crazy. I had a million jobs. I'm like Jamaican 2.0, so someone has to match my energy. So if someone's just like sitting there, collecting a paycheck because they're punching a clock, they'll never understand that I get paid by that truck or that charger moving all over fucking Florida.
Right.
So at the end of the day, for me, it's great to have someone on that level, because you can at least understand, where someone's trying to go. Yeah. Maybe they're there and they want to keep going more. Maybe they haven't really gotten where they want to be.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily, because you could, depending on you could make $50 grand a year, but you don't own a house, so you probably don't have those expenses. So you're still at somebody's same level monetarily, it's not about money. It's just about a lifestyle that I like to have,
Absolutely.
kind of thing. But there'll be weeks so I don't go anywhere and I just sit in my fucking house and watch Netflix.
I don't know how $50,000 is gonna do.
I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Just every month before I even start paying bills, my gym rent's $3,500. Okay,
wow.
So
yes.
So $50,000 without me sleeping at the fucking gym. Okay.
Back on the heat's just not that into you, right? So, right, I think we've all, male or female, connected to people, and you're just like, is this person really like me? Not getting the vibe. I feel like I can notice small shifts in people, and because I have an anxious attachment style, where I think, if I don't hear from somebody, I start thinking the worst, he doesn't like me, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so for example, we talked about texting off camera. I will text you back in a split second. If you've taken 6 hours to get back to me, my ass is responding to you in 5 seconds. That's just my personality. I'm like that at work. When I get an email, respond right away. Anything, respond right away. That's just who I am. But I've had men tell me, if a girl responds right away, I just feel like she's needy and doesn't have a life.
Ladies,
I'm like, no, bitch, I can do 20 things at once and still message you back.
Ladies, I love y'all. I love you, Megan, but listen, fellas, this is specifically for you guys. If after 6 hours that you've been so fucking busy, or whatever you're doing, whatever game you're playing to gauge interest, and she responds right away, lock it down. You got chicks
That's
out
a good
here.
thing, right?
You got chicks out here responding to dudes on Snapchat all day and doing all kind of craziness. They're not even responding to the dude that is really out here on the flip side, the nice guy, Yeah. So, fellas, if she's responding right away, tap in. Yeah. Keep that. There's women leaving you on red for weeks.
I just don't. Everybody's on their phone constantly, right? You're choosing not to respond in my mind. Now,
thank you.
Not everybody's the same. I try not to put my expectations onto other people, because the guy that I connected with who lived in another state recently, he has a job where he can't be on his phone all the time.
And on the flip side, I can say that my ex, with respect to that, I did get mad initially. but I saw that over time. She just doesn't. She's not married to the
Right.
phone. It's crazy.
So,
Like,
and some people are, and he told me that. He's like, I don't like texting. He's not on social media a lot. He's not one of those people. But those are the people that piss me off. The people who haven't responded to you,
but
you've done this to me. But you see them posting on IG. Bitch, you just posted a fucking story, but you can't respond to my goddamn text.
I posted at the gym, by the way, people. All right?
I just like to give them a hard time.
Or I posted flipping, you know, at one of my houses I'm flipping. Okay? And me and Megan have a love-hate relationship at this point because I tell her that like I will purposely ignore people. So she has it in her mind that I have like 200. Last time we talked, it was like 100. Last time we shot an episode, I had 100 texts that I didn't answer. Now I'm like over 200. So what happens is I have to put her in my little favorite people, you know, for us iPhone users at the top.
Should be everybody's favorite.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, listen, put Little Red Riding Hood in your phone, but so I need to put you there because at the end of the day, like,
because it won't. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, it gets lost down in the millions of messages I don't respond to.
So tell me, if a guy is really into a girl and she messages you, are you going to try your best to respond timely?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is it mean something?
However, I want to elaborate. There's mitigating circumstances.
Okay.
Okay, like sometimes with me, there becomes a disaster at a house, you know, unforeseen circumstances, right? So I may be so engulfed in that maybe I pull up quick in my car or my truck, I don't even grab my phone.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe I'm like helping one of my guys do something. I mean, I always don't get my hands dirty anymore. I don't really have to worry about that. But I do get my hands dirty sometimes. So I could be helping a guy for 3-4 hours, or I could be on a Zoom call, like in the field using my phone, and I don't want to keep, you know, so there are mitigating circumstances.
Okay.
However, I will agree with you that we live in a society where people live with their phone in their hands. So at the end of the day, I mean, I can't say that it means that he's totally not into you, but like I said, he can't really use the whole excuse thing, I guess, minus work.
Yeah. Okay.
So like if it gets to be, you know, nighttime and, you know, that's usually when he's at the gym or he's just getting home or getting off and he don't respond between 6 and 10 p.m., we got a problem.
Okay.
We got a problem.
All right.
So I think it just depends.
Yeah.
I think it's a case-by-case basis too. Like it depends on what that person does for a living.
Right. Oh, 100%. I mean, there are people who are like government jobs, you can't even have your phone. That shit's
Yeah,
locked in.
because they're scared you're gonna.
Yeah.
The same thing with healthcare.
Yeah.
You know, with HIPAA and all that, they don't
Yeah.
want to risk people taking pictures of information and things of that nature.
Right.
So, but realistically, about most times, yeah, like especially if they leave you on red.
So there was also something I read that said if a guy is really into you on a first date, he will ask you out at the end of the date for the next date.
That's facts because. Oh, and back to real quick about the texting thing. Like, I don't know about anyone else, but I get excited too, especially if I'm engaged, because that gauges interest.
Right.
Because I'm like, damn, this chick, you know, she's. Because look, one of my pet peeves is people not responding.
Same.
In a timely fashion. So.
In general.
You know, even though I suck at it sometimes, but like that's one of my pet peeves. So. Even if I'm responding hours later, I'm like, damn, this is tight. Like, because the women usually are like, we'll wait, y'all will wait for us to say good morning.
I'm not always.
Not always.
It
I'm
depends
just saying
on
the
who ended,
average woman will not wake up unless she's a decent woman. Like, will wake up and say good morning.
So I had a text conversation last night where he ended it. He was like, okay, good night. So this morning I was like, hey, good morning, because I was like, okay, it's my turn. Like I don't expect him to come roll in with it.
Did he say good morning back?
Huh?
He said good morning back. So you probably made his morning and don't even know it. Seriously, like we look forward to silly stuff, even though we try to play tough.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting.
So,
I didn't think about that.
So, but
I don't know. I just hate playing games. If I want to reach out to somebody, I'm gonna fucking reach out to them. Like
You're
that's
right.
just how.
You're right. Take
I
notes,
roll.
guys. So back to our next topic.
The date. Asking out on the
So to me, if I'm having fun, we're engaged, and actually the date's going well, because I tell people all the time, don't play that. Oh, I didn't know for a while. Like once you typically know on the first date.
Yeah.
what the real deal is. Like, okay, this is worth my time. I could probably give this some time, or I legitimately want to see what's up. I'm intrigued, right? So if a guy doesn't ask you about that date, I would give it 24 hours, meaning
Okay.
between the time you guys part ways and then the next, evening or so. Anything past that is just a game. Like we live in a society where people can do a lot more silly shit because of everything being digital and technology driven. So at the end of the day, I just feel like, nah, I don't really think.
Yeah. Because I've had many who are interested who didn't necessarily ask me out that night, but I always...
The next day though, right?
I always make it a point to message and be like, hey, I had a great time, thank you so much. If they bought dinner or drinks, I'd like to do it again. And then it would either be like, okay, yes, let's plan it for next time, or then you don't hear anything. Or they wait days, and then I think that's the game plan. Because I was telling Rocky, I had a guy tell me that he waits 2 to 3 days before asking her out again because he doesn't want to appear too eager. And I'm like, that's a risk you take. She could be moved on to the next.
Yeah, and that's what I told you earlier when we discussed it off camera. Like, guys, be smart about this. The amount of women out here that are available versus us it's staggering. The numbers are. Yeah. So don't think for a second that she doesn't have the ability just because there's not a lot of single men per se. We ain't counting Ashley Madison dudes and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
Sugar daddies and all right, y'all didn't hear that from me. So you're either gonna ask because you don't want to waste your time either. Yeah. As on the flip side, that's why I tell some of my buddies, I don't know how guys waste their time. Like if I like this situation, I like how things are flowing because you're not jumping right out there going to meet the person. You probably talk to them for a couple of days, couple of weeks, maybe a month or so. So you've already kind of built a rapport there. You just need to see if the chemistry's there, and you'll know.
Yeah.
So I think, like I said, 24 hours, because me personally, I'm always going to say, hey, when's the next time I can see you? Because that kind of leaves the door open like, okay, well, he's not kind of putting too much pressure, so I still will be able to do what I need to do, but we can get together. So, like, that leaves the door open.
Okay. So we got a few minutes, so we'll end it on this one. Does it scare men off when a woman is upfront about what she wants? Like, hey, I'm looking for a long-term... I get this all the time. I'm on dating apps right now. I got back on dating apps. And I get the, what are you looking for on here? And I say, because I don't want to be like, yes, I ultimately want to find marriage, but what I find, what happens with men when you say that, they think you're talking about them. Bitch, I don't know you.
Yeah.
Ultimately, my end goal is to find somebody to be in a relationship with, get married, and have a family. That's my ultimate goal. Is it you? I have no idea. I don't know you. But, so I had some guy who wanted to approach me about being a friends with benefits situation. And that's what he came out the gate and was like, I want a friends with benefits, but I'll only be with you. And I'm like, that's a relationship.
That's a
But you just don't want to call it that. And why?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that weird? And he's like,
he's got commitment issues.
He's like, well,
that's automatic.
So I'm only gonna sleep with you. And he's like, I still want to go to dinners and movies and spend time together.
What he's trying to do is lock it up without a title. Who's dating a girl who's best friends with a girl I used to date, right? And that's the game he plays. So
I don't understand it. It's
because he takes her to dinners. He like flies her home, back to where she's from. Stays at her house all the time. Treats her, nice. But doesn't want to tell us that's his girlfriend.
That's so.
So it's kind of funny.
That's the commitment code. Like, you got issues.
And there's a lot of people like that, men and women alike.
Really? Oh, and then he was like, to be honest, I'm pretty big. I was like, what? Like, telling me about his dick. I was like, do you think that I'm going to come running because you have a big dick? I don't care if you have a big dick. Doesn't mean you know how to use it. Like, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Fellas,
you gotta stop that. Everybody who can fold that meat out ain't talking about it. No. So yeah, no, that's. I mean,
so does it scare me off when a woman's like, "Hey, this is what I'm looking for"? Or is it only
because
going to scare off the ones who aren't looking for it?
it's going to scare off both. Like my buddy I was just talking about. He's a commitment phobe because he had his heart broken bad, and that goes back to we don't give our hearts, we're not emotional people, etc. So I think it's a couple sides to that. It'll scare off someone who's like, oh, I thought I had this in the bag, and this was going to be a yes. It probably won't scare off a real man because, like I told you, the good thing for you is that you are probably not far off from having someone locking in with you, because we're just getting to that age where people want that, that monogamy. They want, that companion. That I always say that forever wedding date, right? Like it's tough if you're a guy, you're a player, or you're a woman and you're not dating anyone. You got to go through your phone and see like who was good enough for my friends. In my case, who's good enough for my friends not to fucking chew me at the whole wedding and roast me like about who I brought. Like, so, I mean, it's kind of tough, but, and in other words, he wants to be with you, but he doesn't want to say that's my girlfriend.
Yeah, that's so, I get it though.
Yeah, because again, like we're
you've been super hurt, but
we get hurt, and we're just way different than y'all. Women, y'all are some strong creatures. Y'all get back out there, and you guys will keep trying until you get a husband. A man, we get our little heart broken one time, and we're like, I'm done with this shit. Man. I'm gonna be a player for life, dog. I'm gonna play for life. Fuck this bitch. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. But I would say just keep being true to self, like letting these clowns know that, because that way they know that you're not just some fuck piece or someone that they can play these games with. You got to commit over here.
Yeah. I told Rocky my New Year's resolution was I'm not having casual sex with anybody. I'm not having sex until I'm in a relationship. He didn't believe me. 7 months strong. That shit has been rough. Let me tell you.
I told her she a whole virgin again, girl. If you don't knock it off, I wouldn't believe any woman that says that, but
I wouldn't believe you.
But I believe her.
Trust me. You don't think I want to be having sex? I want to have sex. Trust me.
Shit, she'll hoot you. Look at that red hair. red hair. She's feisty. But no, like that. It's funny because on the flip side, girl will tell you, on the first date, you haven't had sex in 7 months, and then you.
I'm not gonna tell somebody on the first date.
And then you go home with her and you fall in that bitch. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, you haven't taken 7 months off. Were you saying 7 days?
Oh my god. No, I wouldn't tell anybody I'm dating. This is, podcast.
So you gotta listen to the podcast to hear what the deal is.
Yeah, you gotta wait the whole 28 minutes and 45 seconds for the surprise.
Yep, there it is.
All right, we will wrap it up. Hopefully you enjoyed this, but I'd love to know your opinion. How is the guy not into you? If you're a guy who subscribed to this and listened to it, drop a comment. Send me an email at femmefables@gmail.com. I find it very interesting.
Just one thing too. If you've never tapped in to subscribe before she and I start shooting episodes, just go back and listen to some of the shit that Megan has been talking about. I mean, y'all got to really tap in. It's worth listening to. That's why I'm here.
I appreciate that. Thank you. But yes, a lot of the people that listen and view are not subscribers. So if that's one of you, please subscribe, support the channel. It helps the channel grow.
Hit that button.
And get this message out to other people who hopefully will enjoy it or have gone through similar experiences. But we appreciate everyone's support for listening and sticking with us. And our next episode is going to be, should you get back with your ex?
Oof.
Like you talked about going through that Rolodex. Yeah. Which one of these are my friends not going to give me shit about because I talk trash and I get back with them?
Especially me. I'm like, this bitch did this and she did that. And then next thing you know, they're like, what is she doing here? I'm like, so about that.
Yep. So that's the next episode. But thank you guys again for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.